Hello and welcome to the Bo No Show. I'm Jamie McCarthy with Tradeline Authority. Today we're going to switch things up a little bit and I'm going to be the one interviewing Donnell Bobo. He's going to help us better understand trade lines and show us what an incredibly beneficial tool they can be. So stay tuned, we will be right back. Thank you so much for sticking around with us. Okay, so we're going to just kind of jump right into some of our most frequently asked questions. Donnell, what is a trade line and what are some of the benefits?
Well, thanks, Miss Jamie McCarthy from Tradeline Authority. Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
So basically, a trade line is basically what a authorized user, or let me rephrase it, a borrower has an account on his or her credit file, right? And that's considered a primary account. So that particular account, in the event they add someone, is considered an authorized user trade line at that point. So for an example, if the husband or wife, either one of them, his or her account, if they have an open account, you know, a good credit card, good payment pattern, you know, so the record has been payment good for whatever time period, you know, 2 or 3 years, and they add, you know, the husband or the wife add the husband on the account, then it helps their credit. So in turn, that is really the benefits. And say if I was the husband, right, and my wife added me on her account and my utilization was high. So say if I had a, you know, $1,000 credit card and my limit was 1,000, my available credit was 0 because I maxed out, and she added me on her card and her card is $4,000. Now I take my available credit up to $5,000. So that will lower my utilization from 100% to 20%. So FICO likes lower utilization, which those are some of the benefits. And let's say the age, for an example. So say if she had an older credit card too, and I have more of a newer credit card, her card will also help with my age. So now I have a little bit of older history on my credit file, better utilization, and now that looks better for, you know, banks and lenders and credit card companies.
Okay, that makes very good sense. I like that. All right, so we're going to touch on our second question. Being that not all trade lines are built the same, what do we want to look for when we're purchasing one?
Oh, very good question. So it kind of depends on the individual. So say if you have, again, back to the age, a card that's not that old, right? So your oldest credit card is 2 years and you're trying to establish some type of history. You know, history goes in with that card. So say if your husband or, you know, fiance, working, whomever that may be, has a credit card that's 10 years old, he can put you on that particular card. Now that age shows up on your credit and it helps you in turn with age. And kind of to continue answering the question, like what would be a good one to look for, it depends on what type of credit too you already have on your credit profile. Say if you have an American Express credit card, you know, and you want to kind of mix it up a little bit, maybe put a Capital One credit card on there, Discover credit card. So say, hey, can you add me to your account? You know, when you get that card, of course, your job is to use it and pay the bills on time, because that's how they issue the cards to the authorized user, you know, and then of course he has to monitor that. And keep in mind, the primary owner can monitor that card too. So say if his or her limit is 10,000, 5,000, and they only want to keep, say, a child, for an example, with a lower limit, $500, they can call the company and say, hey, I want my daughter that's on my account card to be maximum 500, you know, because she's still responsible, but could perhaps be irresponsible being kind of young. You know, if you got mom and dad credit card, you're going to fly that sucker like a ninja star.
Yeah,
you know? So you
absolutely.
Of that.
No, that makes sense. That makes very good sense. And I didn't know that you could actually limit it per you. No, that makes very good sense. Okay.
Because you can do that with companies too. So same thing with businesses. If you have employees, you can do that with them. You can add them onto a company card or say a credit card, and you can kind of determine, what the limits may be.
I like that.
Absolutely.
So basically, if you're on your credit report, if you need something with more age, look for an older trade line. If you need something that has a larger limit, because maybe you have a bunch of small limits or just even one, you want to look for something. Okay, that makes perfect sense.
Absolutely.
All right. So I'm going to ask you my next question, which is, how many trade lines do I need in order to really boost my credit? This is a good one now.
Exactly. And see, that kind of depends. So say if you don't have anything already on your credit, right? And if someone adding you as an authorized user, mixing those cards up would be fantastic. Even when you apply for credit, because mixed credit counts. Like I say, Capital One, Discover, American Express, each one holds different weight. So it kind of depends what's already on your credit. And then also it depends again, what your utilization may consist of, what kind of history is there. So when you're trying to find how many, and that's a good question too, because some people put 3 or 4 trade lines on an authorized user. Yeah, I mean, once you get around 4 or so, it doesn't matter, because FICO don't really, it's a threshold. And you're not finna get credit for adding, say, 8 trade lines. You're getting absurd then.
Right.
Say, hey, mom, dad, uncle, auntie, everybody put me on their card. You kind of done already closed that gap. So
maxed
about 4, exactly. So right around 4 or so trade lines, maybe 5-ish could be good. Some with history, some with good. Of course, all the balances got to be good. You want to keep those balances right around 10%, 20%. Some say 30, but I'm seeing it's a little better to have lower balances on your credit card. So you want those particular lines showing up on your account. So when you do go out there and try to look for credit, you are already in good shape.
Okay. No, that makes sense, especially with revolving credit and installments. There's all kinds of things that can really make an impact on your credit, definitely.
Exactly.
Okay, so our next question would be, how would someone determine what age or credit limit they should be looking for when buying a trade line?
Well, another good question again.
Yeah.
So you kind of want to look for, you got to understand your file, first of all. Where are you at in the credit world? What you already have there. And number one, making sure that whatever cards that you're looking for, there are clean records. You don't want to be on nobody's account that don't pay their bills on time. So
right, that's just going to go right down.
Think about it. You're a primary user, or you got the primary card, and I jump on your account, and say you miss a payment, it falls back on the authorized user too. So that's real important to know and make sure that you are dealing with, someone that has an impeccable record and will continue to have an impeccable payment pattern record as well. So that's very important.
Okay, next question. Why do I need my social security number and driver's license in order to purchase a trade line?
Well, the thing about it is, first, they want to verify who you are, because in the past, people were doing all sorts of things that really weren't in compliant with the credit world and the credit system. So people weren't really following typical instructions. So they require a lot of that to verify that individual, to make sure that that is a real person, for particular reasons. So they ask for ID and social security card to be uploaded, to the back office, because you can add people on your particular account online. So when you add them online, you put in whatever information that they're requiring, name, address, date of birth, and social, and then you upload documents to verify that. So that's really for verification purposes.
Just to make sure everything is on the up and up. No, that makes sense. And I can totally see where that's a valid point. Okay. Right. So next we have, can I sell my trade lines? And if so, how exactly would I go about doing that?
Absolutely. Good question again. So you definitely can, and as long as your score, it doesn't really matter about your credit score, because some people do think, well, if my credit score is not good, can I sell my authorized user? Can I put them on you guys' database? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it don't really matter, but we do exercise due diligence to make sure that that person is paying their bills on time, and because you don't want that trade line going to one else's account or file, and then all of a sudden it's negative information, because that would pull that person's score down.
Right.
And we also make sure that that person card balance is low. Again, like I talk about the 10-20% range. So some people, they still use them cards, but they monitor their spending, because if you did spend more than that 30 or 40%, they will record that, because it'll show high balance used. Thus, before you pay it off your statement date, it still reflects. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you use 56% of your card, it's going to reflect that. So that could also hurt that authorized user as well, because they're still in your credit file. So the key is to understand, the process. Make sure you keep your balances low, make sure your bills are paid on time, and then 2, kind of don't use a card as much. Follow me? And then if another part of the process too is, once you get that person information, which is also inside of the TCU software, it lets you know, here's the person ID, here's the social, here's the documents, and here's the social security card. You can go and upload that individual. And once that information is transpired, then that person will get notified, hey, you've been added on the card, you know, and then they go from there. You just wait for that particular line to post. And once that line posts, then we notify the owner of the card, hey, this person line posts, and there you have it.
And then they get paid for
Exactly.
giving the, oh, that's the
Yeah,
best
so
part.
exactly, there it is. I didn't mean to leave that out.
Yeah, that's how they get
You
paid.
know,
I love that.
that's the
Easy
way-
money. Don't have to do
Absolutely.
anything for it.
Pay the
I
credit
love
card
it.
bill.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, our last question here is, so, I mean, basically, after everything we've discussed, you can definitely see what the benefits to buying a trade line or selling a trade line would be, but is there any potential downside?
Now this is a really good question too. So, and now that you mentioned that, the downside, which was a lot of this outcry that happened, you know, with authorized users being an issue, FICO, you know, giving it issues with some of the credit card companies and closing some people's cards, and then Vantage Score coming on board, which is a Credit Karma product, and other companies use them too. That's why you get that difference in score. So what happened in that case, you know, things transpired where I mentioned before there was an outcry about authorized users, but again, that's how a lot of companies and stuff make their money. So the downside was that they was closing people cards, you know, and they can do that because technically it's not against the law. It was invented kind of a little bit to help out, you know, immediate family members or whatnot, but people start spreading it amongst friends. So I guess to the credit card companies now holding the weight, because it wasn't up to FICO. FICO say, look, we just gonna put the weight on the credit card companies. And that's when the credit card companies start saying, okay, you're not using the card, you're using it for transactional purposes to benefit you guys and not us. So we're gonna shut the card down. You know, and that's what transpired back then. Or adding too many people. Like you can have the ability at one point, I remember this happening, American Express allowed you to add up to 99 people.
Wow.
I know, right? That's a lot. So,
wow.
and years ago, and I'm gonna speak on this person, but we had someone get up to about 35 or 40. Next thing you know, his cord was cut off. So yeah, this was your, so as time progressed, you start understanding that here are things that they don't allow. You know, first of all, you got to keep in mind the credit card company business is you taking this card, helping out other people, but guess what? They're using the card too. So that's the key. So if you have people not using this card, then what benefit is it to the credit card company?
Right.
There's no benefit for them. So the downside now would be what we already recognize, not adding too many people on your credit, you know, abiding by the rules, you know, and not doing or having too much activity. Meaning you put someone on every 30 days, like that's a lot. Nowadays you leave people on for a period of time so that way they can benefit from the longevity and they can go through processing and using the card if you have that relationship established with them. And again, you can put the, you know, caps on her too as well.
Right.
So the benefits are definitely there. The disadvantages were, you know, cars getting closed, and that was just it. Some people contest that, got their cars open back up for whatever reason, but have I seen a lot of that lately? Not at all. It's just understanding as the process transpires.
So just don't abuse the process.
Absolutely.
That's really what it comes down to. And I know I have heard in the past some people ask the question too, well, wait a minute, are these authorized users going to, you know, which are strangers, I mean, in effect, are they going to receive the card?
Exactly.
You know, and, you know, in some cases, right, what can happen there? So how would you answer that?
You being a primary holder, everything goes through you.
Right, so we never have to worry about it, right?
Another thing that you probably thought about, but haven't thinking about right now, that person information, like maybe what information is going on that person's credit. Meaning, so they getting your information from your payment pattern and impeccable record, but what other information is there? So that's another question that people may have, but the only information really is laid out is just the information that you see when you log into your report. So if someone else looking at your report, it might be the last 5 digits of your credit card number. You see what I mean? So that information is just on their file as if it was yours. So it's not really shared information like that because, of course, the credit card companies would be held liable if they gave out too much information.
Right.
But to make a long story short, you hold the control and the power.
That's right, and that keeps it safe, and I like that.
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, joining me today in the studio. I really appreciate it, and thank you for sharing Tradelines and helping us to learn a little bit more about them. And as you can see, there are real benefits associated with them to help you reach your goals, no matter what they are. Thank you for joining us today on the Bo Knows Show. And remember, Bo knows who knows. If you've ever wondered how people have a 750 plus credit score, getting approved for all the financing they want, auto loans, home loans, credit cards, personal and business loans, all with great interest rates, the answer is Tradelines. Tradelines are like having the cheat codes for good credit. What is a Tradeline? It's a credit account listed on your credit report. And when you become an authorized user on a Tradeline that has excellent payment history with low utilization ratios, well, all of this reflects on your credit report as well. So if you have bad credit or simply no credit at all, a Tradeline will help excel your credit report and open the door for new opportunities. And the good news is, you can use your new credit score the second it hits your credit report. This is generally 10 to 20 days of the statement date of the Tradeline you choose. So, if you're looking to change your credit in order to change your life, message me or give me a call at Tradeline Authority at the number listed below.
Bo know business, Bo know credit, Bo know surviving during the pandemic. Bo know real estate stocks and bonds with step-by-step we build in 101. Bo know software and system too, showing startups and entrepreneurs what to do. Bo know people bringing special guests. Bo know tuning to the show for the rest.